Typically in the years past, I've played 16-degree 3-woods or 16.5-degree 3-woods just because I could not keep spin on the golf ball. I would always kind of duck hook them or hit them really low spin, and they weren't really a functional club. When I tried this one early last season, I was able to play it at still at 15 at times, but I ultimately had it at 16 for the end of the year. And it worked out the best because it actually had a little bit more spin than some of the other woods in the market. So you guys would be familiar with a lot of TaylorMades and Callaway's 3-woods, very knuckly, very low spin. And I just found this one to have such a traditional shape. Sound and feel is really amazing, but at the same time spun in a window that let me have like a nice balanced ball flight. So that being said, unfortunately, this year it kind of looks like I have to say goodbye to this guy because of now the fact that I'm spinning it too much. So you'll have seen with my driver reviews, I'm starting to play lower lofted drivers to get them to spin kind of in the mid 2000s kind of thing. This 3-wood was spinning in the low 3000s for me, which was perfect. It's now starting to creep up into the 4s, which I'll show you now. So just want to make a really quick video showing you why this 3-wood that was so perfect for me last year maybe isn't the best now. And then kind of broach the subject of the type of clubs I'm going to try next. Not everything is in yet at the facility here at Richmond Hills, so as they are coming in, I will be trying 3-woods, but just a quick video to show you kind of how this guy performs versus how it used to perform when I was fit for it. Not the best strike, but that spin is up there. 4,000 spin is not what you want, especially when you drew the ball over like that. I can carry my 5-wood about 247, so you can see how this club has gotten a little bit away from me in terms of being functional. That one's hit really nicely. And you can just see it has a very, very high ball flight to it. So let's take a quick look, because those are pretty stock shots. You can see just the height of them. That last one was 127 feet in the air, which is not terrible, but when you look at it being 4,600 spin on the last one, and that's really what the average ended up being, I had one lower, one higher. All it comes down to is this club was absolutely perfect for me when I was delivering not enough dynamic lofts at impact. So you can picture I would actually de-loft my 3-wood quite a bit coming into impact. So a higher lofted, higher spinning 3-wood like this actually turned it into just a regular 3-wood for me, and I got perfect flights. Now what's happening with my swing is the club is coming in a little bit more sort of as designed. I'm not leaning it as much. So if anything, maybe I'm leaning it backwards, adding a bit of loft, who knows? And now it's starting to come out with a lot more spin and carrying shorter because of that spin, and kind of just giving me a club that doesn't really fit in my bag. So now, one thing I would say is it is adjustable, and I am going to adjust it a little bit right now just to see if the potential is still there. I don't necessarily want to mess around with loft and face angles too much if I can avoid it, because that's what will be necessary for this. But for the sake of testing it and using this as a preliminary test to see what I might end up using potentially from a different brand, I think this will be worthwhile. So why don't we start there? I have now moved it down to actually 14. So we've changed the static loft of the head by 2 total degrees. Face angle wise, I will say, to be honest, it doesn't look a whole lot different, which good on Mizuno. I'm not entirely sure how they do that. The only thing that is going to be a bit annoying in this test is that these leather grips have quite a stitch, a stitching rib down the left side. So I'll do my best to ignore it. It is definitely not ribbed for my pleasure in this case, but I will try to ignore it and not let it mess up my numbers. Not a particularly good swing, but I'd actually made a bit of progress already. So I low toe struck that, so not the club's fault. But you can see already we've shaved about 1,000 spin, a little bit of extra ball speed. Much better swing. That's still got a little bit of lift on it. It's a really well hit one. Now we're getting a little better. That's 3,500. My only concern is that, these are drawing, so the spin's going to come down partially because of the shape. Okay, I think that's my best attempt at hitting a very neutral ball. Let's see how that flight looks. I mean, that's pretty close to being perfect. So when I don't turn it over that much, it's still, yeah, still mid 3000s and got lots of ball speed. Okay, so we're seeing some potential here. Pretty neutral too. Still sneaking up a little high in that spin, 3700. So the main concern is that last shot was pretty well hit, very straight, still a little spinny even though I've lofted that 3-wood down. At 259 carry, I don't think it's going to be all that functional of a club because my 5-wood here, which I'm going to hit a few with, generally is about a 250 carry club. So looking at a 3-wood, it would make more sense to get something that could carry, you know, 280 or so, and I think that's going to require sort of a lower spin model. But just for illustration's sake, have a look at this here and we can see what the gap would look like given the current 3-wood. So that's a well hit ball with the 5-wood. And it's going, you know, 255 even. And I turned that one over a little bit, which I'm not going to blame the club for, but you can see, you know, I can get that 260 if I turn it over. Yeah, so if I get one with a little bit more spin on it like that, a bit straighter flight, not turned over, it'll fly like that 248, 250 right on the number. So that club is very functional. So the first fairway is the Mizuno set at 16, the way I used to play it. Obviously, way too much spin on it, ball speed's low, it's a high club that doesn't suit me very well, fair enough. I then took that same fairway, lofted it down to 14, so 2 degrees left. Much better ball speed, launch angle is still good, we're happy with it there. The spin came down, you know, somewhat, but it did at times fluctuate a little bit high, and total carry went up, let's say 16 yards. So good, but when you look at what's next, you know, in my bag would be this G425. And, you know, I hit 3 shots that are pretty common for me with that club, and they've averaged around 250, 255 carry. If I took that one that I turned over out, it would probably be right around 250, which is exactly where I'm trying to hit it. So best case scenario, even if I loft down my Mizuno to 14, I'm looking at a club that's only going to carry 8 yards further than my 5-wood, which obviously doesn't make sense. It's just going to come down to picking a different 3-wood head. I love that Ventus blue in there. I think it works quite well. But I think I need to, rather than just playing with loft, I need to start with a head that's designed to be a bit lower spin on the 3-wood. Then I don't have to loft it down to 14 or 13, which I don't like the look of anyway. I'd like to maybe try some Stealths, some of the Callaways, maybe even go back and try some Titleist TSI 3s, right at 15 degrees, but knowing that they're a lower spin model, get the window coming out a little bit lower spin, and then have a club that for me will hopefully carry, you know, 275, 280 off the 3-wood. And that gives me a nice gap between the 5-wood, the 3-wood, and then into the driver as, you know, 3 different tee clubs. And the occasional time I'll hit the 5-wood and 3-wood into the green on a par 5, I at least will know I have some separation there between the 2 clubs. So this is kind of just a start to a little bit of a journey I'm going to be doing to find the 3-wood. As I said, clubs are still coming into the facility here at Richmond Hills. So as new stuff comes in lefty that I can try, I'll start playing around with some 3-woods, keep you guys apprised, let you see the testing. And we'll work to pick a new 3-wood for me for 2022.